Hello and welcome to Pushing Back, Ukraine Daily Brief. As the war enters its 809th day, these are the main developments from the past 24 hours. Russia has lost approximately 484,030 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of the war, the General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported. The number, which has not been independently verified, includes 1,740 casualties over the past day. According to the released Ukrainian figures, Russia lost 31 tanks, 42 armored combat vehicles, 15 artillery systems, 4 multiple launch rocket systems, 26 drones, 3 cruise missile, 59 vehicles, and 6 pieces of special equipment. The update from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. There were 146 combat engagements. The enemy launched a total of 6 missile and 57 air strikes, carried out 41 multiple launch rocket system attacks on positions of Ukrainian troops and various settlements. The Ukrainian Air Force and Missile Forces strikes on 1 artillery system, 1 electronic warfare station, 1 drone control post, 15 concentrations of troops, weapons and military equipment of the Russian invaders. In its latest intelligence update, the UK's Ministry of Defence reports Russia has been using more light vehicles like ATVs and motorcycles since 2024. This tactic allows quicker troop movement and attacks, especially at night. Russia bought over 2,100 Chinese-made ATVs for this purpose. While these vehicles offer better mobility, they lack armor and firepower compared to traditional military vehicles, making them easier targets for Ukrainian forces, including drones. In its latest intelligence update, the Institute for the Study of War. Russian President Vladimir Putin replaced Sergei Shoigu with Andrei Belousov as Russian Minister of Defense on May 12, moving Shoigu to the position of Security Council Secretary in place of Nikolai Patrushev. These high-level reshuffles following the Russian presidential election strongly suggest that Putin is taking significant steps towards mobilizing the Russian economy and defense industrial base to support a protracted war in Ukraine and possibly prepare for a future confrontation with NATO. Belousov's nearly decade-long tenure as an economic minister in the Russian federal government and his more recent involvement managing various domestic defense industrial base innovation and drone projects prepare him well to lead the struggling Russian MOD apparatus. Shoigu's replacement of Patrushev as Security Council Secretary is in line with Putin's general pattern of quietly sidelining high-level security officials by granting them peripheral roles within the Russian security sphere rather than simply firing them. Russian offensive efforts to seize Vovchansk are in large part a consequence of the tacit Western policy that Ukrainian forces cannot use Western-provided systems to strike legitimate military targets within Russia. Ukrainian forces continue to conduct repeat strikes on Russian oil and defense industrial infrastructure, prompting Russian mill bloggers to complain about Russian forces' clear and continued inability to defend against these strikes. Several German politicians from different political parties expressed support for using NATO air defense systems stationed in NATO member states to shoot down Russian drones over western Ukraine. Former Roscosmos head and ultranationalist figure Dmitry Rogozin highlighted Russian forces' continued difficulty repelling Ukrainian drones on the front line. Russian forces recently made confirmed advances near Liptsy and Vovchansk in northern Kharkiv Oblast. In Zelensky's nightly video he covered several points. Firstly, he spoke about the ongoing defensive battles in the Kharkiv region. He said warriors were holding positions and effectively countering the occupier. Secondly, he said the situation in the Donetsk sector is equally intense. Attacks in Kharkiv region aim to spread forces thin and undermine morale. Lastly, Russian psychological operations fuel ground operations through lies and fear. He said the importance of verifying news reports and trusting the Ukrainian defense forces would combat fear. Thanks for following today's updates. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. We'll return tomorrow with the latest news on the ongoing conflict.